This work is an artistic production. Everything said is just opinions. The interpretation is on your conscience.
Hello.
Hello?
What are we going to discuss?
Well, I don't know. Usually military topics interest me.
Well, it's quite logical. And what exactly is being heard right now?
Yeah, now the war in Israel is being heard. Well, the latest news that I heard at home is that yours are trying to advance in the Avdiivka direction. They are trying to encircle there, or rather, well, first of all, they are trying to encircle there, or rather trying to, but since beginning of full-scale invasion, they didn't advance even a little bit in there. Have you heard about it or not?
Just in passing. No concrete information
Our
is available
sources
now.
say
People
that
from Donetsk telling
840 people of yours were killed in the past 24 hours, and about 20 tanks of yours squished.
the way you talk right now, you don't want to speak based on facts. You're not interested in facts. Right now, while you speak,
Let's talk facts.
I'm talking now about your mental state. You're relishing it.
Relishing what? I'm always talking like...
That's what I'm talking about. You have a huge number of mental and balanced people. This is what UN is saying. I see the way you're talking. You are not interested in constructive dialogue. You draw so much pleasure from the information that you have no way to verify. You're just swimming in dopamine right now. You're getting high.
I actually do get such a high, knowing how many Russians
Try
are
to
dying
understand.
here. I do get such a high.
The most troubling thing that the Russian army faced. Then your Ukrainian army. And the Israeli army is a mythologization of consciousness. And this is what kills. That's what kills you for real.
Understood. Want to speak facts?
Let's verify number of military casualties. Somehow, if you kill on average 800 people a day, we suffer huge losses. How can this be confirmed? Visually somehow. And don't tell me stories about portable crematoriums. This is nonsense.
For example, your captured people talk about a pile of lying corpses, no one collecting them.
Tell you once again, we need to verify this not based on your words, but...
Okay. How can we understand that the corona of the sun is 5,000 degrees there, lower it again?
I'm telling you again, for example, I'm listening to West...
How can we? I asked you a question.
Don't go off topic, and there's no need for an allegory.
I give you different
No
paths
need for an
to...
allegory. There is... How to communicate with you, Ukrainian. How to communicate with you. I'm trying to explain to you normally. Verify to me, how did you count? Well, okay. For you to determine that 800 people died a day, you need some kind of pool of data sources. What sources do you have and how many sources?
If that was said by...
Once again, how many sources for this information? And preferably from different parts of the world.
From different parts of the world.
Give it to me right now. I'm looking it up.
If this is announced by... If this
And
is
Ukrainian
announced
Ministry
by...
of Defense should not be mentioned.
Who should we take? Chinese?
For example, let's take Americans.
And how do you imagine China will...
I didn't say Chinese. I'm talking about your allies.
Chinese?
I did not talk about the Chinese, Ukrainian. You are again mythologizing your consciousness. You mentioned Chinese, not me, and continue talking about them. Why? Ukrainian. Guys, how do you talk to them? He himself mentions Chinese and continues following this tune. I am giving you example of a solid foreign analytical agency. That's it. He's flying high. The Matrix took control over him. He's in the state of natural rejection. What sources?
Did you come down? Did you stop throwing
I did not
garbage
throw
at me?
anything at you. It was you who injected the Chinese. Did I ever mention Chinese?
Okay. Whose information do you trust?
I'm not saying that I trust someone. I'm saying that if you claim something, you must have a pool of different sources. You personally, what sources?
Ukrainian Defense Ministry.
Please don't interrupt. Please don't interrupt. except the Minister of Defense of Ukraine, which is telling nothing but
Nobody but
lies.
Defense Ministry can confirm.
Can.
No. No.
You just told me how you can
Nobody can.
calculate. You just told me. You just now told me. This person just told me how one can calculate the corona's temperature. And now he's saying that only Defense Minister of Ukraine had the information. Your logic is simply wonderful. This is marvelous. You just now alluded that. Calm down. Calm down. Well, how to talk to them? This is just some kind of madness. When you told me about a sun's corona, you meant that there are some ways. I understood your idea. Lermontov had a poem in which he said, Copernicus was correct. I will prove the truth without being on the sun. You don't need primary source to verify the information. Moreover, you must have other sources, because the first source can lie. Correct? Correct. That's why I'm asking. Who else gave such data besides the Ministry of Defense?
Nobody but Ministry of
I
Defense.
have just explained to you why you definitely need to study the data, other than your internal propaganda. Did you hear what I was trying to tell you, dear opponent? We just agreed that primary sources can deliberately manipulate and lie. And therefore, in order for us to be sure that this is not a lie, we need pool of data, so we can verify it's true or not.
It is not possible.
Don't you interrupt, Ukrainian! Guys, can you see what was done to them? He's completely on autopilot. We seemed... Dude, I'm just not going to get off you like that. We will talk this through. Are you done? Begging you to stop, Ukrainian. You're already hysterical. Are you done?
Yes.
And you want to interrupt?
No. Say what you want.
We came to the conclusion that we must verify sources except the primary.
You are something else. I've got it.
Will you answer?
Is it all? I have already answered you. You want me to repeat
Did
again?
we come to agreement? Do you agree?
Yes. We came to the agreement that when your Konashenkov gives some information...
You're not answering the question. We're not talking about Konashenkov right now. Look at him. The matrix overtook him. It will not allow him. I understand where it's coming from. It's mental. We did not talk about Konashenkov just now. I didn't say that one must trust Konashenkov. In principle, we didn't talk about Konashenkov at all, and we were not talking about whether we need to trust the Minister of Defense. We are saying that if we have, we generally try to abstract from any data. But now you're telling me that if you...
Not from any data.
Could you not interrupt? Ukrainian, you have mental problems. Serious, very serious problems. I was not talking about Konashenko. Why did you start talking about him? We will not drop that subject. Guys, I don't know what was done to them. Have they been sprayed with something? This is mental. I've been watching Chatroulette guys for how many years now, and I'm sitting here, and there are more and more and more people like that. And with the start of SMO, by the way, the degree of madness is growing and growing and growing every day, because their matrix requires some displacement. I understand him in part, by the way. Well, should we be in the place of the Ukrainians? I don't know if we could pull this out psychologically. But again, I do communicate with the Donetsk people, and I see that they did not lose their humanity, like these people. How are you down there now?
Did you finish with them?
You
At
done?
least, what's the name of your blog?
Why did you start to talk about Konashenkov if I didn't talk about him?
Lara, what is your blog called?
No, we will finish with the topic. Doesn't matter what kind of information you get. The essence of logic is that you verify even the primary source. And how can you study the original source? Only if... That's a finish. He's simply hysterical.
Of course, it's the truth.
So it began the truth, philosophy will go on now. In short, the gibberish started. Remember the video with the young guy with turned off sound? I'll add a video later, by the way. 5 seconds later, sound on, he's talking about tomahawks. Started with drones, finished with tomahawks. After 17 seconds, he was already talking about Kalashnikov. And after another 30, he already played the sounds of the white. It's similar to schizophrenia, non-linear logic. You tell them a jar, a cucumber, what associations you have? He says, Washington, means he cannot make connections. So, are we going to finish primary source of information or you're going flush?
What are you talking about? What primary source?
We said that if your Ministry of Defense declares the number of losses, its own or other side,
That's right.
we, even if we think that this source is great and everything is fine, we must doubt it. We must double check, verification.
Must doubt it. Agree.
So we are talking that source, we are taking the data as a baseline. We are taking this data as a baseline. Taking away the authority of that source and try to verify the data from it by other sources indirectly.
There is no way.
And now I'm asking you a question. And I'm not talking about the Ministry of Defense. I'm talking about how the methods of information gathering and analysis you understand. It's verification.
No way possible.
No way. Agree. Because for Ukrainian the only acceptable point of view is theirs. So that's it. End of the conversation.
But you see this?
Ukrainian, you're an empty chatter. You like to believe about 38 million killed Vanyas. You like to believe in Holodomor. You like to believe in life-giving sanctions. You like to believe that you're winning everywhere and that everything is Russia's fault. Dude, I turn off the sound for you when you're getting hysterical. I can't hear you. I've turned off the sound, you fool. You're mental. You see? I'm telling you, you have serious problems. Gosh, how long are we talking? Good that I'm recording this. I turned off the sound. You're talking to yourself. Because you're getting hysterical. Again, can't you hear what I told you? You're talking to yourself. It's impossible to listen to this psychosis. He's talking to himself again. Why, guys? I don't know what's wrong with them. Can I ask you a question now?
Yeah, sure, I'm listening.
Are you allowing possibility that you have been deceived?
Yes.
That is exactly what I'm talking about, you moron. They can lie to you. So, if it's even a slight chance that you're being deceived, you must check the facts. Finally, damn it. Finally, some kind of consensus. If you are being deceived, you must check it. Consequently, if we doubt something, we must dismiss the main source. And now the most important thing. Where will you check this information, apart from their propaganda?
Nowhere else.
That is why your country will be destroyed. Bye.